There's been a great deal of focus, finally, on Joe Biden, and now that it's been revealed that people other than Joe Biden have been making decisions for the country, people that have received no votes, and that those choices have unleashed hell on our people for 4 years, the entire con is collapsing. I will focus on Joe Biden as I focus on the people who have run the con and harming our people in Joe Biden's name. The collapse of the left's competency con. That's my focus in today's preamble. Joe Biden couldn't pull off this scam all by himself. He had a lot of help. There are Democrat operatives who have dominated GovEd, for example. Their job has been to dumb down our children, taking away critical thinking skills and the ability of children to spot a con artist. Here's one of the architects of that sick and sad agenda, Becky Pringle, delivering the keynote address at a recent National Education Association gathering.
We can do this work. We must do this work. We get to do this work. We will do this work because our students are depending on us to win all the things. NEA, we have to win all the things, all the things, all the things. Our colleagues are depending on us to win all the things. Keep going, NEA, to preserve our democracy. We must win all the things. Delegates, we won't go back. We will keep going forward because we are the NEA. We are the NEA. We are the NEA. And that's what we do.
First, we're a representative republic and not a democracy, but wow. We've got to win all the things, you know, for the things thing. You can see these people are not just pushers of stupidity for your children, they are also clients. But that lack of intelligence is one reason why so many people still vote socialist. They are proof positive that the worst mistake our nation has ever made has been allowing the government to teach our children. Another part of the con is the information war. The outlet formerly known as NBC News, now known as NBC Narrative, they and others have been propagandizing the left, reinforcing the non-teaching going on in GovEd schools. Here's Joe Scarborough from Morning Brzezinski. He has a message for those of you who don't believe the lies he's been pushing about Joe Biden's mental acuity.
And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it.
The best version of Biden. F you is what Morning Brzezinski has to say to Americans who don't believe his lies about Joe Biden. I'm forced to wonder what America would say to Joe Scarborough, this left-wing charlatan, if given the chance. The next part of the con was to convince the American people to not be angry, fearful, or disapproving of the actions being taken by Democrats, actions that have led to myriad catastrophes across our country. Instead, the pushers of the competency con want you to focus on their irrational fears of what President Trump and real Americans might do if they regain power, to make sure Democrats and leftists pay a price for their illegality, attacks on our Constitution, and destruction of our American norms. Here's another offering from MSNBS as they openly worry that President Trump will treat Democrats exactly the same way Democrats have treated him and conservatives.
So I would love to get both of your reactions to Trump suggesting that he's going to jail political opponents. Olivia, you go first.
Look, I think Donald Trump projects and says what he plans to do, so I think we should take it very seriously, and I don't think it's going to stop at just political opponents. I think when he says that, I think he means anyone who's ever crossed him.
No, of course, there's no evidence that President Trump ever did anything like that, even though many Democrats deserved it in his first 4 years. But did you notice the MSNBS host worrying that President Trump would jail political opponents just as the Democrats are doing right now as we're speaking? In other words, these pushers of the Biden competency con think it's 100% acceptable to jail political opponents so long as it's conservatives and Republicans who are being thrown in the clink. But the left will never tolerate equal treatment. The current contempt charges against failed Supreme Court nominee Merrick Garland is proof I'm right about that. But as Biden's competency con collapses, the leftists in the biased press and the media are growing very worried that they may have to endure equal treatment under a Trump presidency. Here's CNN left-wing maven Dana Bash trying to get Senator Marco Rubio to pledge to protect Democrats' illegal, malign, and unconstitutional behavior.
He has repeatedly said that his revenge will be to make America great again, to undo all their bad public policies.
Well, let
and by
me
the way,
ask
he
you-
was president for 4 years. He didn't go after Hillary Clinton. He didn't go after Joe Biden. He didn't go after Barack Obama. He didn't go after
So
any
you
of their
feel comfortable.
consultants.
You're telling me
we didn't
right
see under
now-
him what we're seeing now.
You're telling me right now that a second Trump administration would not go after any Democrats, any of his political opponents, full stop. You've confidence that that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Two things to notice there. Did you see how obsessed Dana Bash was with making sure Democrats don't suffer at the hands of Republicans in the same manner Republicans are currently suffering at the hands of Democrats? Currently, Democrats are going after and jailing their political opponents. Democrats know it's wrong. Still, they don't want equal treatment for themselves. But did you also notice how Senator Rubio said President Trump wouldn't go after Democrats? I would hope that if Democrats broke the law, as so many have, I would hope that as Democrats have illegally and unconstitutionally abused their power and the public trust, I would hope there would be a caveat in Rubio's statement there. And that leads us to Joe Biden, a man who has been a figurehead, a man who is a functional incompetent, a man who has allowed Marxists to make decisions in his name so that he and Jill can play White House. Internal polling suggests that the Democrats, the media, and social media influencers have taken a massive hit in their credibility. Reportedly, internal polling is showing that a large number of Democrat voters don't appreciate being lied to by their elected Democrat officials. Calls are growing louder for Joe Biden to step down, as if that will make the Democrat lies somehow acceptable. But Joe says he won't go.
The bottom line here is that we're not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. I wouldn't be running if I didn't absolutely believe that I am the best candidate to beat Donald Trump in 2024. We had a Democratic nominating process where the voters spoke clearly. I won 14 million of those votes, et cetera. So I just want, I not only believe that from the beginning, but I wanted to reassert it and demonstrate that it's true. And I'm going to be doing that all through this week and from here on.
Yeah, of course, you Democrats made sure that there was no competition for you, Joe Biden. You boxed out RFK Jr. and other Democrats, but we all remember that. I know your sycophants who vote for you don't remember that. But there's Joe Biden telling MSNBS he's not going anywhere. He says he's the best person to beat President Donald J. Trump in 2024. But that's not what he was saying the other day.
I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020. Oh, by the way, we're going to do it again in 2024.
Yeah, I'm going to beat him in 2020. I'm glad Joe Biden is staying in the race. Why? Because the left deserves him. For the last 4 years, left-wing Democrats, media personalities, and online influencers have cursed our nation with this man. They lied to us about his competency so they could rule in his name. Now it seems that Joe Biden has bought his own cooked-up press, and he's staying in the race. And it will be good to see Joe Biden screw over the left wing, because that's what they've been doing to our beloved country for the last 4 years. And one by one, the left wing and their lies and the biased press are being exposed. Case in point, Philadelphia radio station has parted ways with one of its hosts who recently interviewed Joe Biden. This after she admitted the White House and the campaign gave her questions before the interview. But even with Joe Biden having the upper hand, knowing the questions ahead of time, he still couldn't formulate a coherent response. Listen.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president.
Yeah. Joe Biden, first black woman to a black president. The Biden campaign, now that they're caught,